Yu's name is something like Yubi Saihara something. It's like he Yubi Saihara Naka or something like that. And the first two letters in the romanization are YU, not YOU. Of course, the last name is Tanaka. And in the Japanese, it's spelled entirely in kanji, and this is from the opening scene. So yeah, when they localize, I wonder. I don't know what the first the romanization of the first kanji would be, and kanjis don't necessarily romanize like they're always romanized the same way because you use them in words based on their meaning and not necessarily their pronunciation. I haven't taken Japanese yet, so I don't know this for certain. I could be like speaking where I shouldn't be, but um, so I don't know if you can really like use the kanji for anything. Like maybe you is one of them or something like that. But yes, when they localize this, instead of making her abbreviation is for her name YU, like in the opening cutscene, they made it YOU. What to make of that? Don't know. But like I'm always keeping that in mind when I get a little bit more information, then I have time to jump on something. Um, yeah, it was like in the Japanese how they abbreviate. They just do the first of the kanji. I don't know what they do there. There's a piece of DNA in the logo. So maybe cloning will come up again like it did in Ever17. Spoilers for Ever17 again. I was kind of doing that with Reckless Abandon because it's like the second game in a series that began with that game. I always expect that if I'm playing the second game in a series, I can say anything about the first game in the series, even though these are apparently not connected to each other. And I started to see how how I can explain how they're supposedly not connected according to the fan base, but still somehow in the same series and in the same universe. They could contain common backstory, meaning they could, similarly to how the Curie experiments by some doctor on some kid. I forgot the name of the doctor and the kid, where the kid managed to cure some other kid of. I forgot exactly how the story goes, but anyway, the story that was used to exposit Curie syndrome may actually come up again. The exact same one might come up in this game, and that could put them in the same universe because they have the exact same story happen, but because it might be exposited by a totally different character and also incompleteness, so it doesn't mean you need to know stuff from Ever17, and it doesn't introduce the characters in the story from Ever17. Like, I guess I'll just go all in on the spoilers on Ever17. So that's about to happen. Click off the video now. Izumi did her own experiment, having to do with testing out Curie syndrome. This might be a separate experiment, not knowing about Izumi's testing out Curie syndrome. So, okay, a little bit about the physics here. So, according to Almighty Google, it's about you gain about 1 atmosphere of pressure for every 33 feet you go down into the ocean. So I believe that when the boy and you were just beneath the highest of the 3 underwater layers, you said they were 90 feet below the surface. This graphic doesn't seem to depict that well. So that would mean, so you'd guess, okay, the layers are about 90 feet apart. So it's about 3 atmospheres per layer. So the top layer, these have German names, I forgot them, of course. I think the second one's called Zeitstock, but I forget what the first and third floors are called. Or the basement and the first floor, whatever they're called. Anyway, it's 3 atmospheres for the top floor, or the first underwater floor. That's right now is completely flooded. 6 atmospheres, the one that's half flooded. The middle floor, and for the bottom floor it would be 9 atmospheres. And supposedly, And so then you would go, okay, so they pressurized it to 6 atmospheres as a compromise to make the pressure equalize for the middle floor. And the structure of Le Meux would have to hold out the water or hold in the air on the first and third floors. They wouldn't make them 3 different pressures because then you have to go through a whole decompression process between the floors, and that would be a pain in the butt. So they decided to make it so you only had to do compression to get in and decompression to get out. And then within Le Meux, you say at this pressure 6 atmospheres, and it would just be a compromise between the 3 floors. Now, right now I'm in a part of the game where, according to the computer, it's 1 atmosphere inside. So I guess that Le Meux could exist strong enough to exist at 1 atmosphere inside. It's just that they decided to make it 6 atmospheres for day-to-day use so that it would be under less mechanical stress. Okay, so that's kind of like making sense of the in-game physics, which is not always necessary. But what that tells me plot-wise is that it was planned out. So the disaster that befell Le Meux was planned out by somebody, because they intentionally made it 1 atmosphere inside, and knew that they could do that and it would survive. Or it didn't survive. Maybe that's why it collapsed. Whoever was behind this, we'll get to that later, made it 1 atmosphere, and that made parts of it collapse. However, not all of it, which is odd. Anyway, now, if you ask Almighty Google again, how much pressure can a human survive, it'll say about 3 to 4 atmospheres, which is not 6 atmospheres, but then given that you'd only be in this theme park at 6 atmospheres for about a day. Anyway. So, person behind it all, the game really pushes at you hard that Tsumugi helped set up the disaster and triggered it, and knew that it was going to happen. Right? When the Le Meux was decompressing down to 1 atmosphere, she knew that was happening, which it seems to suggest that she planned out for that to be the case. Now, it would be kind of lame if, like, the obvious infiltrator and planner and the person making the scenario was revealed to be a certain character right at the beginning of the game. Usually when that happens, there's, like, an obvious, like, face of mastermindedness, and there's someone really behind it. So there's still a mystery left. So it could be that Tsumugi is in on it, but she's not the person behind it. That's actually most likely Sora. Because she's the person who looks the most like she could be behind the thing. I gotta pause encoding here to grab a pen. And I'm back. Cool, so let's start the game. And let's return to the menu. Okay, that was so make sure you do not save system data when you accidentally start a new game. Okay. So last time we made it through all the exposition, it seemed. Still not used to waiting for the dialogue to go by. Okay, so last time it seemed I got through all the exposition, and we've actually got into the main scenario. Finally. It took a little while to get into it, but it looks like we have. Even if we are floating in the middle of the Pacific, it's not as if we're lost in a blizzard. So what? So, I mean, if we wait a few hours, help will probably come. How do you know that? Because you'll be missing, right? You'll have parents and friends that are like, these people didn't make it out, and they'll come and see if it's possible that they could be rescued. It kind of raises the question, the first, like in the areas that were flooded and they can't get into, are there dead bodies in there? They also couldn't get out but could not escape the flooding. And I would guess not, just because that would be inconvenient for the plot. Like, I mean, not convenient. Like, I would say it's inconvenient, but it's like, that's not what they're going for. It would be unnecessary. It's not necessary for the setup of the game. And whoever planned out this whole capturing some of the people in this scenario probably had in mind who they wanted to capture.
だって、よーく考えてみ。
Now think about it.
私たちは何の因果か知らないけれど、こんな狭っ苦しい建物の中に閉じ込められてしまった。
We don't know why, but we've been trapped inside this cramped complex.
おまけに外部へ連絡する手段もないときてる。
On top of that, we don't have any way to contact the outside.
でもね。
Listen.
連絡だったら、私たちがするまでもなく、他の誰かがしてくれてるはずじゃない。
Even if we can't contact anyone, somebody else probably will. Like who? Oh, that's right. You mean like your colleagues or Sarah's classmates or teacher? You gave a big nod as if to say, that's right.
倉成だって一人で来たわけじゃないんでしょ?
And Takeshi, you weren't alone when you got here either, right?
そっか。確かにそれもそうだよな。
Well, that's true.
俺らがここにいるってことは、浮島にいる連中もとっくに気づいてるはずなんだ。
The people on the floating island should have noticed a long time ago that we're still down here.
そう。
Yep.
だから、救助隊だか捜索隊だか知らないけど、とにかく誰かがすぐに助けに来てくれると思うの。
I don't know if it will be a rescue team or a search team or what, but anyway, somebody should come to help us soon.
どう？納得？
So, satisfied? Well, I would be satisfied with the action and not the words. Sara, Sora, Takeshi, and I all nodded. Hope returned to everybody's face. Oh yes, hope. Only Tsumugi. Only she kept her cold gaze trained on us. We all moved to the conference room together. So it's already 7:25 p.m., so we're getting close to into the first day. This could be 17 days long, or it could not be, and the 17 was already exhausted on the minutes it takes to compress. Hopefully, the latter is the case, because that would make for a very long game, especially one with branching paths and multiple endings. There was something unnerving about waiting for help in the dimly lit control room, and there weren't that many chairs to start with. Well, there's 8, and there's fewer than 8 of you. I wondered if there was a place in one of the dry areas that everyone could relax. The closest one was the conference room we were at. Hey Sora, how come you know so much about Lemu? I asked Sora, who was sitting next to me.
私はレミュー開発部のシステムエンジニアをしているのです。
Probably because I am a system engineer at Lemu's Research and Development Division.
一応主任代理ということになっています。
Actually, I am the assistant chief.
主任代理ね。結構偉いんだ、実は。
Assistant chief, so you're pretty high up then.
代理ですし、名目上のことですから、大したことはありません。
Only in name. I'm really just an assistant. It's no big deal. Just kind of like the help to the person who actually knows things.
でもさ、空って地上のゲートにいなかったっけ？
But hey, Sora, weren't you up at the gate above ground?
入場の時、なんか説明してたろ？俺は半分しか聞いてなかったけど。
You were giving some kind of explanation at the entrance, right? I only heard half of it, but...
はい、そうです。お気づきになりましたか？
That's right, so you noticed. Well, not much to notice.
ここも人手不足なもので、時々私もあのようなことをしています。
We are short on staff here, so from time to time I do that kind of work. Sora smiled. I wondered what the gate above ground was. I didn't understand what Takeshi and Sora were talking about, but for now I knew the reason for why Sora knew so much about Lemu.
ってことは、この中にレミューの職員は2人いるってことになるな。
So that means there were 2 employees from Lemu here then.
2人？
2?
ユウのことだよ。
I mean, you.
私は職員っていうか、ただのバイトだけど。
Not really an employee, it's just a part-time thing.
倉成は遊びに来たんだよね。
And Takeshi, you just came for fun?
遊び以外の目的でテーマパークに来るやつなんかいないだろ？
What other reason would someone have for coming to a theme park? Well, to take part in some human experiment.
なあ、サラ。
And Sarah?
私は一応特使だけど。
I'm here as a volunteer.
は？特使？
Huh? Volunteer?
救命館の2年生を対象にして行われるイベントのこと。
It's an event for juniors at Kyumeikan.
まあ、ほとんどが遊びみたいなもんだけど。
But it's basically just for fun.
ふーん。
Huh? Without thinking, I let out a cry. For some reason, something bothered me. Everyone here, you're not all friends, right?
まさか、さっき会ったばっかりだよ。
Hey, we just met. So then why are you talking to Takeshi like you're old friends? Here we go again. So they all time traveled? It's just that the kid is the only one who has overt symptoms. And Takeshi is talking to you guys the same way.
ああ、そっか。お前は知らないんだよな。
Oh, that's right, you don't know? What?
先ほどツバイトシュトックでお会いした時に軽い自己紹介のようなものをしたのです。
When we all met up in Zweetstock, we introduced ourselves. That's it?
そうなんだよ。
Yep, that's it. Still, it seems strange how they are all so friendly for just having just met. That was what I thought.
っていうかさ、お前の名前は？
What about you? What's your name anyway? Huh? Protagonist doesn't have a name.
まだ聞いてなかったよな、確か。
I'm pretty sure we haven't heard yet. Here we go again.
暗殺者なんだよ、彼。
An assassin, that's what he is.
あ、
暗殺者？
Assassin? Did I talk over Sara's voice line?
うん。闇の組織に追われてるんだってさ。
He's being hunted by the underworld. I'm not being hunted.
だから真に受けんなっつうのに、わからんやっちゃな。
Told you to quit taking things so seriously, you just don't get it.
わかりました。私が代わりにご説明いたしましょう。
Alright, I'll explain for him.
実は彼、
Actually,
記憶喪失なのです。
he's got amnesia.
記憶？
喪失？
You gave them a brief explanation of my situation. She told them how I'd forgotten my name, address, family, and friends. And that I only remembered the date and everything after meeting you. After listening to the explanation, Sora said,
おそらく追走障害の一つ、全般健忘でしょう。
It sounds like it's probably complete amnesia, a type of retrograde block.
全般健忘、全生活史健忘とも言いますが、
Complete amnesia. It's also called retrograde life amnesia. And at this moment, I know my experiment has probably gone horribly wrong.
これは社会的事実についての知識はよく保たれていながら、
While general education and knowledge remain intact,
名前、生い立ち、家族や友人のことなど、自分の全生活史にわたるすべてを想起できない状態のことを指します。
one's name, background, family, and friends, all aspects of one's life history are wiped completely from one's memory. Basically, everything it's convenient for the plot to have him remember, so he doesn't have to be potty trained again, he remembers, but everything that it's convenient for the plot to have him not remember, he does not.
通常は数日から1、2ヶ月経てば自然に記憶は回復してくるはずです。
Normally, one's memory returns within a few days or months.
あるいは催眠療法や電撃療法という手段も考えられなくはないですが、
Hypnotism and electric shock therapy are also said to be effective means. Electric shock therapy is something that happened to work once, probably, we don't know, it's not been recorded, and then has been misused a lot throughout history, and actually can work if done correctly, which it usually was never done. Electric shock.
安心してください。
Relax.
繰り返しますが、記憶喪失は通常何もしなくても自然に治るものなのです。
To put it another way, this type of amnesia usually solves itself naturally.
従いまして、今はひとまず
So, for now,
あまり気にしないこと、深く考えないこと、これが最善の治療方法になります。
you really shouldn't worry or think too much about it. That's really the best medicine for you.
ほらね、私の言った通りでしょ。
See, it's just like I said, right?
心配しなくても大丈夫なんだってば。
Don't worry, things will be fine.
ということらしいぞ。
So there you have it. You say it like it's somebody else's problem.
いや、別にそういう意味で言ったのではなく、
That's not what I meant, but I would have said yeah because it's someone else's problem.
記憶ってやつはさ、不思議なもんで、別のことを考えてるときに、ほわっと蘇ってきたりするもんだろ？
I mean, memory's a weird thing. Sometimes when you're thinking about something entirely different, boom, you just remember. This happens often right after you finished an exam.
例えば、芸能人とかで、顔はわかるのに、名前がどうしても思い出せないときとかな。
Like with celebrities, you know their face, but you just can't remember their name. Yeah, I wonder if that's just the way it works.
ところで、君はどっから記憶を失ってるの？
So how far back do you remember anyway? How far
そうい
back?
や、俺や空の顔は知ってたよな。
Yeah, you knew Sora's and my faces, right?
それに、私の名前も覚えてた。
And you remember my name? How far? How far back? I searched back in time for the edge of my memory. Was there a point where I could still remember and a point where I had forgotten? Different images floated through my mind as if to provide an answer. That was it. I'd lost my memory when I fell into the pond at the rest area. That had to be it. Dropped from the ceiling, as usual. I couldn't remember anything before that. And I remember everything after that. Between my memory and non-memory. My consciousness was cut off at that time. I think it probably happened when I fell in the pond. I announced this to everyone.
池というのは憩いの間の池のことですか？
By pond, do you mean the pond at the rest area? I think so.
前のことは全然思い出せないの？
You don't remember anything before that?
ぼんやりとしたイメージみたいなのとか浮かんでこないのか？
Vague images or anything come to mind?
住んでたところの景色とか。
Like the scenery around your house or
好きな女の子のこととか。
the girl you like?
ドラマとかだとさ、記憶はないのに指先や覚えてるなんてこともあるよね。
On TV, you sometimes see dramas about people who don't remember anything but who instinctively know things.
なるほど。筆を持たせた途端、いきなり素人離れした芸術的な絵を描き始めたみたいなやつな。
I get it, like the guy that paints like a pro the instant he takes up a brush.
そうそうそう。
Yeah, like that.
だから、いろいろと見たり触れたりしてみるっていうのも手かもしれないよ。
So maybe you should try to see and touch lots of things.
そうだな。じゃあまず何をやらしてみようか。
So what should we have him do first? You'd be like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. The conversation about me went on around me. My temples were throbbing. My face was distorted with the pain.
ちょっと待った。
Wait a second.
ん？
今空が言ったばかりでしょ。
Sora, you just said it, right?
あまり気にしないこと、深く考えないこと。
You shouldn't worry or think too much about it.
この少年、思い詰めるととんでもない精神状態に陥っちゃうんだから。
Put too much pressure on him, the mental stress will turn him into a wreck.
とんでもないって？
Wreck?
錯乱状態っていうのかな。
Like mental overload, maybe?
とかはーとかうめき出して突然倒れちゃうの。
Sometimes he starts groaning like he's in pain, then he suddenly collapses.
そうなんだ。
Is that right?
だから記憶のことに関してはもう少しデリケートに扱ってあげないと。
So when it comes to things having to do with his memory, take it easy, or... You gently placed your hands on my head. When she did, it was strange, but it seemed to suck away the pain.
オッケー、わかった。
Okay, got it. And I'm about to be a jerk, but that'll come later.
それじゃあ話題を変えよ
Now let's talk about something else.
先ほどから気になっていたのですが、
Something has been bothering me for a while.
う。ん？
彼のことこれから何とお呼びすればよいのでしょうか。
What do you suppose we should call him?
そっか、呼び方くらいは決めとかないと何かと不便だもんね。
Oh yeah, we should probably decide to call him something, or else it'll be kind of a pain.
ゴンベイにするか。
How about John? Is it Makoto in the Japanese? I should have been able to hear the voice line, but I kind of ignored it.
適当だけど、七種のゴンベイ。
Don't you think that would be a little rude to all the people named John?
適当だからゴンベイだというのは全国のゴンベイさんに申し訳ないのではないですか？
Or it's kind of random, but how about John Doe? Don't you think that's kind of rude to the other Johns?
仮名なんだから適当でいいじゃないか。
I couldn't pick out a name out of those voice lines, so I don't know what it is in Japanese. Well, it's only for a little while, so it doesn't have to be perfect.
スナイパーにしようよ。
Let's call him Sniper.
なんでそれにこだわるかな。
So hung up on that.
そういうタイプじゃないでしょ彼。
He's not that kind type of guy at all.
じゃあポリフェノール三郎は？
How about John Mitochondria?
意味わかんないよ。
Get it. So you honestly do not know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You honestly do not know that.
そうですね。では私も一つ考えましょう。
Let's see, let me think of another one.
キワクさんというのはいかがですか？
How about Melos?
なんだ？キワクさんって。
What's Melos supposed to mean? That's what it says.
記憶忘れちゃったくんの略？
Short for Mr. Memory Loss.
縁起でもないな。
Well, okay, so it's probably not Melos in Japanese. It's probably something different, but whatever. No, it's bad luck to name him that.
すみません。直接的すぎました。
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so direct.
ナッキョ先輩はなんかないの？アイデア。
Nakyu, don't you have any ideas?
そうだな。
Well,
平少年でいいんじゃない？
how about Mr. Aw?
犯罪者みたいじゃないか、それじゃあ。
That makes him sound like a convict or something.
だったら B 少年。
How about Bisol or Bichun or whatever she's going for here?
同じだろ。
What's the difference?
アストチーネクメガワは？
How about Astiane Kumagawa, which did show up in the Japanese voice line?
メモリーズオンというのはどうでしょう？
How about memory on? Oh, I was gonna say next, how about memories off? Ha 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 ha.
匿名希望でいいよ、も
Now if it's something simple, it's just fine.
9少年って手もあるけど。
We could call him Kid Q. Wow, that game hasn't even been made yet.
う。なあ、お前はどれがいいんだ？
Hey you, which one do you like? Now, literally, a Kid Q will appear in a later game by Uchikoshi. Stick.
贅沢言わないの。この大不況の真っ只中に。
Don't be so picky. These are tough times for everyone. I got an idea for you. What about Sean? Well, probably get names from some other like games like Memories Off or something. So Tomoyo Mikamai, don't know that one. Makoto Ishihara, that's from Never 7, of course. Naoto Fukuyama, probably from Memories Off. Shina Hayasegawa, Motoki Inamura, Kin Inami, Kiyosuke Wadarase, or Prince. Well, I'm probably just going to go with Makoto Ishihara because I'm going to play Never 7 against the one I recognize. No, I'm not going to do the obvious gag one because it's an obvious gag one. That's lame. I'm going to pick something even more lame because you wouldn't expect me to be that lame. Makoto is good.
Makoto?
It's the protagonist from the other game, oh no.
却下ね。絶対無理。
Forget it.
ありえないな。
You gotta be kidding.
賛成しかねます。
I can't concur.
だって似合わないもの。
I mean, it doesn't suit you. Is that what they say, like, if you pick any other name? I guess it's a non-choice.
ああ、もうめんどいから、少年でいいよ、少年で。
This is a pain. We'll just call him Kid. And that explains why he's been called Kid the whole time. Just then, crash.
いい加減にしてよ。
Enough! Smoogie pounded the table and stood up.
どういうつもりなの？
What are you trying to do?
何考えてんのよ、あなたたち。
What are you all thinking?
何って、名前を考えてたんだけど。
Thinking of a name, and taking excessively long to do so.
ふざけないでよ。
Stop goofing off! The room went quiet. We all looked at each other.
そうだね。
Yeah, she's right. The first one to open her mouth was you.
私たち、彼の気持ちも考えないで、ちょっと悪乗りしすぎちゃったかも。
We're not thinking about his feelings at all, we just got a little carried away.
そういう意味で言ってるんじゃないの？
That's not what I mean.
では、小町さんはどのように呼べばいいと思われますか？
Tsumugi, what do you suggest that we call him? Tsumugi doesn't even care. You totally talking... You don't get it, do you?
ほらね、名前考えるのって結構難しいんだよ。
See, it's tough to think of a name.
もういいわ。勝手にやってれば。
Fine, do what you want. Smoothie said this in disgust and left the room.
どうしたんだ、あいつ。
What's up with her?
なんであんなに怒ってるの？
Why is she so angry?
たけし、なんか嫌われるようなことしたんでしょ。
Takeshi, did you do something to make her mad at you?
してねえよ。
I didn't.
俺にはさっぱり理解不能だけど、会った時からあんな感じでさ。
I don't get it. She's been like that since we met.
少し小町さんのことは慎重に扱った方が良さそうですね。
It appears that we should be a little bit careful about how we treat Tsumugi.
しばらく様子を見て、こちらに悪意や敵意がないことを示しながら、ゆっくりゆっくり打ち解けていかないと。
Let's be patient. Once she sees that we don't have any ill will or hostile feelings, things will probably resolve themselves. I felt as if something was controlling me. Just offhand, just that line, just kind of there. I felt like something was controlling me. I'm going to write that one down because that's what you do when you see lines like that. felt like something was controlling me. Okay. The next thing I knew, I found I was rushing out of the room. Down the corridor, Tsumugi was kicking water as she walked. I didn't know where she was heading. Oh, wasn't really that important. I don't know. I got stuck up on a line that meant nothing. I called out to her back. Hey, wait. Tsumugi didn't stop. There was no sign that she would look away. Tsumugi. When I finally caught up with her, I put my hand on her shoulder.
触らないで。
Don't touch me.
触らないで。くれる？
Would you please not touch me? Tsumugi stopped walking and said it in a small voice. So sorry. Apologizing, I took my hand from her shoulder.
何？何の用？
What? What do you want? You want to know this, but this is probably the better choice. I haven't even introduced myself. Somehow I couldn't look Tsumugi in the eye. Just our eyes meeting sent my heart pounding.
挨拶なんか必要ないわ。
There's no need.
私はあなたとなんか口も聞きたくないの。
I don't want to talk to you. Why not? Did I do something to make you angry?
ねえ、もういい加減そういうのやめてほしいんだけど。
Listen, cut it out. I've had enough of that. Just drop it. Of this?
とぼけないでよ。お願いだから。
Don't pretend like you don't know, please. I'm not pretending.
しらちらしい。
I see through you.
私、もう何もかも分かってるのよ。
I know everything.
まさか、あなたまでもが奴らの仲間だなんて思いもよらなかったけど。
I don't believe it. I never thought that you'd join up with those guys. Those guys? Join up?
あなた、さっき記憶喪失だって言ったわよね。
You were just talking about amnesia, right? Yeah.
じゃあ、なんで奴らのことを知ってるの？
So how do you know these guys? How do you know those guys? We explained all that just a bit ago. I remember meeting you. Weren't you listening?
嘘つかないで！
Don't lie to me. Suddenly, Tsumugi raised her voice.
バカバカしい！
That's stupid.
とにかく、私は騙されないから。
Anyway, I'm not falling for it.
もう二度と私に声をかけないで。
Don't you ever talk to me? Oh, don't you ever talk to me again? Got it? With that, Tsumugi strolled away. I couldn't find the words to stop her. I stared after her, shrinking back in silence. I returned to the conference room. In the center of the table was a three-dimensional image of Lemire. Sarah, Sora, and Takeshi were looking at it and discussing something intensely. Hey, what are you talking about?
あ、おかえり少年。
Oh, hey, welcome back. Name of the developer that made this game.
つぐみは？
What happened to Tsumugi? I shook my head.
なあ、難しい女の子だろ？
I told you, she's difficult, huh? This time I nodded. Tsumugi was difficult for sure. I had no idea that what she was thinking. There was no point in prying any more into Tsumugi's situation. I asked them again. So, what were you talking about? I mean, just now.
このような事態が発生した原因について。
The cause of our current situation.
それから今後の対応策。私たちは何をするべきなのか。
And what steps we should take from now.
それを話し合ってたの。
That's what we were discussing. Oh, the cause of the accident and steps to take, huh? Hey, do you mind filling me in on what you come up with? You can keep it simple.
わかりました。
Sure.
ではもう一度事故の経過についてご説明いたしましょう。
Well then, allow me to explain about the accident one more time, as if I really need that. Saying that Sora touched program image above the table. Saying that Sora touched program image above the table. Well, that's what it says. And then she said the following. 12:45 p.m. Lemieux was suddenly struck by a blackout. The cause is unclear. Immediately after that, an emergency evacuation order was issued. The cause of this was unclear as well. In any case, the evacuation of Lemieux by visitors and employees was initiated at this point. 12:54 p.m., the emergency doors were activated. What does that mean?
浮島と直結した脱出用の非常口のことです。
That is referring to the emergency escape exits connected directly to the floating island.
非常階段の最上部に設けられています。
These were located at the very upper part of the emergency stairs.
通常、よほどのことがない限り、この扉が開かれることはないのですが。
Normally, except under extreme circumstances, this door is not opened. But you're saying that it was opened?
はい。
Yes. What exactly does except in extreme circumstances mean?
一概にそう言って良いものかどうか。
I'm not sure that I can say for sure, even though I'm pretty sure you could, but you're just choosing not to, but...
マニュアルにはこう書かれています。
In the manual, this is written that...
緊急の場合でも、お客様には一時的にインゼルヌル状の過減圧室に留まっていただく必要がある。
In the case of an emergency, it is necessary to temporarily hold visitors in the decompression chamber. Why? But what if we have to escape in a hurry? Why do we have to stop in the decompression chamber? Because of the bends, of course.
減圧症を防ぐためです。
In order to prevent decompression sickness, which will paralyze you. Decompression sickness?
急激な減圧に伴い、血液中に溶けた窒素が気化し、血栓等を作ってしまう症状のことです。
When there is a sudden decrease in pressure, the nitrogen that has dissolved in a person's blood gasifies and can cause blood clots that interfere with circulation.
そのことは後ほどご説明いたしますので、今はひとまず話を先に進めますよ。
I'll explain that later, but for now, let me continue on this topic, all right? Sure. Anyway, what you're saying is that these doors that shouldn't be opened were opened. Is that it? So basically, they have to evacuate through decompression. But these doors are doors that open that basically go directly outside without going through decompression. So when they open, it decompresses the entire facility down. It drops the entire facility down to 1 atmosphere.
そうです。
That's correct.
これは私の推測に過ぎませんが、
This is only my best educated guess, but
おそらくパニックを起こされたお客様の誰かが混雑する過減圧室を避けて緊急機密費を手動で開いてしまったのだと思われます。
It would appear that probably one of the visitors panicked in the confusion, and in the confusion manually opened the emergency airtight doors. That's probably not what happened.
そしてこの扉はその後閉鎖されることもなくずっと開放され続けていたようです。
And then the door was not closed but was left open.
これにより約6気圧に保たれていた内部の混合ガスが急速に外部へと放出されることになりました。
Accordingly, the roughly 6-atmosphere mixture of gas inside was suddenly released outside the room. Sora continued her explanation. 2:39 p.m. Helium, since it is lighter than oxygen and nitrogen, was released first and internal pressure dropped to the equivalent of the external pressure of 1 atmosphere. 3:55 p.m. Water leak occurs.
もともとレミューは飽和潜水仕様の設計をもとにして建造された構造物であり、
Mu is a structure design based upon saturation diving specifications. Saturation diving specifications, what's that mean?
内部気圧を外部の水圧と同等か、またはそれ以上に高めることによって本体が海水に押しつぶされないようにしていた。
To equalize the internal air pressure with, or to set it at levels above the external water pressure to keep the unit from being crushed by seawater.
ということなのですが、わかりますか？
That's what it means. Do you understand? I do get it. Yeah, I think I get it.
では、浸水事故が発生した理由も？
But the bottom floor, maybe like, I know the space between the floors is more than the ceiling height, so it's not really clear like how the floors are spaced. It might be they're more tightly spaced than the 90 feet than but whatever. there's a way you can finagle the explanation to make it work. Like, you could say it's 90 feet from the top of the underwater floors up to the surface, but then the two floors below that are actually less than 90 feet apart. So then it stays so that they're like only 45 feet apart. So then the bottom floor is at 6 atmospheres. Well, then the question becomes, why the water leakage? Yeah, that's right. Couldn't it be that the mill was made to keep the internal air pressure and external water pressure the same so it wouldn't be crushed, right? But if the air pressure completely escaped and the air pressure dropped to 1 atmosphere, then wouldn't the pressure of the seawater push in, and finally there would be a tear somewhere and seawater would come rushing in?
ほぼ正解です。
You're almost correct, however, not the whole thing flooded.
すごいですね、少年さん。本当に記憶喪失なんですか？
Impressive, kid. Are you sure you've suffered from amnesia? No, I'm just a protagonist stand-in. It would be really frustrating if the protagonist stand-in did not, like, have some sort of head on his shoulders. Yeah, pretty sure.
他に補足すべきことはありません。
I have nothing left to add.
急激な気圧の減少が今回の浸水事故の主な原因なのです。
Sudden decrease in the air pressure is the major cause of this flood mishap.
その後、被害を最小限に食い止めるべく、レミが浸水箇所の水密費を自動的に閉鎖しました。
Subsequently, in order to minimize damage, Lemay automatically closed the watertight doors. And so we're all trapped in here.
はい。
Yes. Maybe it was because I had jumped into the complicated discussion, but somewhere in my head felt like it was tearing. But thinking back on Sora's explanation, there are 2 key points. The reason for the complex blackout was unclear. Well, Tsumugi was messing with the controls. So it is unclear, but the player has some idea. The reason for the drop in air pressure was that we had sprung a leak. That is, someone opened a door to the outside, which again might be wrong. However, because the game is giving me this in a list format, it seems like it's trying to settle as like, hey, you player, I know technically these could be a mystery, but let's just clear it up for you. To make it simple, these are the answers to these, okay? So don't overthink it. Anyway.
あれ、ちょっと待てよ。
Hold on a second. Takeshi, who had been listening quietly until now, spoke.
ここって今、1気圧なんだ。
So this here is 1 atmosphere of pressure?
ええ、そうですが、何か？
Yes, that's correct. Why do you...
それならさ、俺たちが今耳に装着してるイヤホン、音声変換器だっけ？これってもう必要ないんじゃないのか？
So does that mean that this voice alternator thing that we're wearing, that we don't need it anymore?
いえ、それはまだつけていてください。
Please keep wearing it.
どうして？ヘリウムガスだってほとんど排出されちゃったんでしょ？
Why, the helium gas is mostly gone, right? Only you remained silent. It looked like she was awkwardly avoiding my gaze.
とにかくそれは外さないでください。
Anyway, please don't take them off. Okay. The voice alternators are very sus. Very, very sus. Why not? What reason is?
理由は
The reason is...
まあ、ソラがそう言うんだからそれでいいじゃない。
Well, Sora says so, that should be good enough.
別に装着してても全然違和感ないさ、この変換器。
I'm still wearing it. I don't have any problem with it, this voice alternator.
確かに今までつけてたのも忘れてたぐらいだからね。
That's for sure. I had almost forgot I was wearing it.
でしょ？
See?
そんなことよりも、これからどうするのか。対応策を検討する方が先だと思うけど、私は。
Anyway, more importantly, we should be talking about what are we going to do now and talking about our next step. At least that's my opinion. Well, just like under the rug sweep is like one of the most infuriating things you could do in writing. You can tell I'm not really that infuriated, but ouch.
対応策か。
Next step, huh? Now I'm gonna start thinking about what they actually do. After that, we crossed our arms and started brainstorming, but we couldn't come up with even a single good idea. In the end,
助けを待つしかないってことね。
guess all we can do is wait for help to come. Of course, there was no reason to expect a different opinion. Okay, we're out at 8:36 now. Nearly an hour had passed and Tsumugi had left the room. Sora had said that she was going to try to think of a plan and went back to the control room. The remaining four of us didn't have anything to say or do and continued to wait for contact or help from the outside.
つぐみ、戻ってこないね。
Tsumugi hasn't come back. Sora muttered this.
このまま一人にしといていいのかな。
I wonder if it is good to leave her alone like this.
いいってことはないだろうな。
I don't think there is anything good about it.
ねえ少年、さっきさ、つぐみを追いかけていったでしょ？
Hey kid, you followed after Tsumugi a bit ago, right? Yeah?
その時、どこに行くとか言ってなかった？
She didn't say where she was going or anything. Nope, she didn't mention anything.
しょうがない。
Oh well.
探してみますか。
You want to look for her? As if Yu's words were a sign, I stood up. For some reason, Yu made straight for the control room. Huh, why the control room?
少年、覚えてない？
You don't remember?
さっき、制御室に集まった時、空が言ってたでしょ？
Gathered in a control room before, Sora said something, right?
生体反応をチェックしてみたらどうたらこうたらって。
By searching for the life readings or biosigns or such and such. She said that?
ああ、確かに言ってたな、そんなこと。
Yep, she for sure did say that.
ちゃんと話聞いてたのか、少年。
Weren't you listening? I thought I was, but...
で、その生体反応検出装置みたいなやつを使えばね。
So why don't we do a bioscan for life?
きっとつぐみの居所は立ちどころに判明しちゃったりすると思うんだ。
Probably know where Tsumugi is right away. Bioscan. It seems like one difficult word after another is being thrown at me. Bio and scan. Difficult words. Okay, maybe in Japanese they are. I wondered if this was part of amnesia. There were so many words and phenomena and systems and stuff here that I was at a loss. Sigh. Without thinking, I let go a sigh. Welcome to science fiction. Incidentally, there was another thing that I had not been able to understand. Somewhere along the line, everyone had taken to calling me Kid. The random decision-making process to find a consensus on the name had ended up with me being called Kid. Well, it was better than John Mitochondria anyway. Kindle, imagine, develop. But still, it was all hard for me to understand. Sigh. I sighed again and shook my head and followed everyone into the control room.
おや、どうかされましたか？
Hey, is something wrong? Are you talking about mitochondrial DNA in this game, as opposed to nuclear DNA in the last game? Sora tilted her head, looking at us quizzically as she shuffled into the room.
あのね、このままつぐみをほっとくわけにはいかないから。
Well, we just didn't think we could leave Tsumugi alone like this.
うん。だから、空に生体反応をチェックしてもらおうと思って。
Yeah, so we thought if we could get you to do another bioscan.
ああ、そういうことですか。わかりました。
Oh, I see, so that's it.
小町さんの居所を調べればいいんですね。
You want me to investigate the location of Tsumugi then?
少々お待ちください。
Please wait a moment. A map of the Mu was displayed on the monitor. It enlarged and reduced in size, slid, spun, the image switching and changing in a dizzying way. Sora? Will you really know where Tsumugi is just by running a biosearch for her?
ええ。
Yes?
人間は高温動物ですから、常に体が36度前後に発熱しているでしょ？
Humans are homeothermic animals, meaning that they constantly maintain a temperature of around 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. I never heard of the word homeothermic before, but because it's Latin, it's really easy to figure out what it means.
その体温を赤外線を使って検出するのです。
That body temperature can be detected using infrared radiation.
これによりレミュー内の人間の数もその居場所もすぐに特定することが
Via this technique, we can affirm the location and number of humans in the Lemur complex.
ほら、もうわかりました。
See, there it is. And then we're going to learn there's 7 now, aren't we? See that uncertain bit of light in Zweitstock?
間違いありません。小町さんです。
There's no mistake, that's Tsumugi. And then they go there and find it's someone else. Below that, in a room in Dreitstock, there were also a number of light-emitting points overlapping. I figured that was probably the control room. Huh, what's this? Just then I noticed something strange. In a corner of the monitor, life readings 7 was displayed in small letters.
どうしたの？
What is it? Isn't there something strange about this number? See? I pointed to the corner of the monitor. Life readings 7, but it's in German, because everything in this is in German. Lebensschwittig. Rikshin.
7？
Oh, Leben. Yeah. Leben switching. Reaction. 7.
7？
7.
7?
So I guess nona is 7 in Japanese.
どうして？
What? There should have been a total of 6 people trapped in Lemur. You, Sara, Sora, Tsumugi, Takeshi, and me. Yet the main computer Lemur was indicating that there were 7 people.
これは一体
What in the world? And then life readings 5, 7, 6, 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 7, 6, 5, 7, 6. They're merging and splitting. The numbers changed by the second. Or they found a zone where they can come in and out of being read. And always the number 6 plus or minus 1.
なぜこんなことが
Why? Why is this happening? Flustered and out of character, Sora was busily operating the console. But the numbers continued to fluctuate and there was no sign that they would stop. I shifted my eyes to the points of light on the map. Even if the life reading numbers changed, the points of light didn't increase or decrease.
もしもこの表示が本当は7だとしたら
If the number really is 7, then someone's doubling up. That would mean that there is another person here that didn't get out in time. Well, if they were dead, they wouldn't produce body heat anymore.
7が正解だとしたらね。
Oh, okay. Yeah, assuming that 7 is the right number.
まあ待てよみんな。落ち着けって。
Calm down. For a while, I watched the number switch. Finally, it stopped on the number 6. Life readings 6. We know Coco's in here, so we know it is actually 7. Like this, like the opener spoiled it, you could say. Huh, it stopped on 6.
壊れてたんじゃないの？センサーの誤動作なんてよくあることでしょ？
It's probably broken or something. Never. It's always relevant. Then we down to 5 is probably also relevant somehow. Someone is sketchy in their existence.
いえ、そんなはずは。
No, I know something you don't, and this bothers me. No, it shouldn't be.
でも結局6で落ち着いたわけだからこれが正解だろうきっと。
Anyway, so it looks like it settled on 6, so that's probably the right number, right? No.
そうだよね。
Makes sense.
よく考えてみれば他に誰かがいるとは思えないし。
Thinking about it, it's hard to imagine anyone else is here. But
だって少年、私たちレミューの中をあんなに探し回ったんだよ。
what, kid? We looked all over Lemieux.
なのに誰にも会わなかったじゃん。
We didn't see anyone. That's true, but
まあどっちにしろ館内を歩き回ってみればわかることなんじゃないかな。
either way, it's something we can solve by walking around the complex, right?
それよりも、今は早くつぐみを捕獲しなければ。
The most important thing is securing Tsurugi. What does securing her mean?
捕獲？保護でしょ？
Securing, you mean saving? No, you see, he's trying to tie a knot with her, apparently.
危険なものから対象を隔離するのが保護。
Saving is removing an object from danger. She's an object now, apparently.
危険なもの、それ自体を隔離するのが捕獲だ。
Securing is removing danger itself.
つぐみってそんなに危険なの？
Is Tsumugi really that dangerous?
あ、そういや、サラもユウもまだまともに話してなかったよな。あの猛獣と。
That's right, I haven't told Sarah, you and all about everything everything in that crazy girl, have I? No?
うん。
No?
よし、それじゃあつぐみ捕獲作戦の開始だ。
It's time to think of a way of securing Tsumugi.
準備はいいかな？
Are you ready? Climb the emergency stairs to the floor where Tsumugi was. Only Sarah remained in the control room, thinking of ways to escape, trying to re-establish communications, rechecking the complex, and trying to get other systems that were down back online. We arrived at Zweetstock. And then we did, a voice came from the speaker above the corridor.
小松さんは今、
Right now, Tsumugi
警備室にいるようです。
seems to be in the security office. I figured Sora was using the complex intercom system to announce Tsumugi's location.
了解。警備室だな。
And including to Tsumugi, so now she can leave. Got it, the security office, huh? Takeshi had said this toward the ceiling. On the way to the office, you said,
ねえ、倉成、一つ提案があるんだけど。
Hey Takeshi, I got an idea.
ん？
Tie her up.
こういうのってさ、女の子だけの方がいいと思うんだよね。
I think this kind of thing is, well, better with just girls. Because of Sara's skirt, it's creating this optical illusion where the just girls seems to be not straight. It seems to go up and back down again.
女の子だけ？
Just girls?
私とマヨ、二人だけで行くってこと。
I think just Mayo and I should go.
その方が、つぐみも何かと話しやすいと思うし。
That way it might be easier to talk to Tsumugi.
マヨは別にいいよね。
Mayo, you're okay with that, right?
もちろん、私は全然 OK ですよ。
Sure, I'm fine with that. Why can't Takeshi and I come along?
こういうのは大抵男性がいるとややこしくなるもんなのよ。
This kind of thing gets messy when there are guys around.
4対1だと警戒心を持たれちゃうっていうのもありますよね。
4 against 1 triggers fear, you know, flight or flight reactions.
あとは、勘かな。
That, and let's call it female intuition. Intuition.
私とマヨなら、うまく誤解を解くことができると思うの。
I got a hunch that Mayo and I can fix this misunderstanding.
誤解か。
Misunderstanding, huh?
だってそうでしょ？私たち何にも怒らせるようなことしてないんだから。
That's what it is, isn't it? We haven't done anything to make her angry, so... That's true. It might be better to just go get the two girls and let the two girls go instead of going in a group. Sara's dress is still warping the text. Not really, it's still making it look like it's warped. For some reason, I didn't have any confidence in my ability to get Tsumugi to open up to us, and I was sure that type of thing wasn't one of Takeshi's strong points either.
じゃ、お任せすることにしますか。
Well, I guess I will leave it up to you. So with that, you and Sara headed to the security office. Takeshi and I were left in the middle of the corridor. The loss of what to do.
さてと、どうしようか。
So, what now? What do you say?
警備室の前で待ってみるか？
Want to wait in front of the security office? I don't think that would accomplish anything, but because we are the protagonist characters, we gotta somehow get into it and observe the scene, otherwise the player can't. So, well, it's gonna happen.
じゃあどうするよ。
Then what? I don't know.
ここはひとまず館内の見回りかな。
For now, we could take a look around. I've had enough of that.
俺はまだやってない。
Well, I haven't. You, Sara, and I walked so much that we just about wore holes in our shoes. Sweet stock and dreet stock, everything.
んなこと言うんなら、 一緒にメリーゴーランドでも乗るか？
In that case, why don't you give the merry-go-round a shot? I don't know, two guys on a merry-go-round sounds kinda...
だろ？
Yeah?
まあとにかく、俺はレミューの中を一通りチェックしてみることにするよ。
Well, anyway, I've decided to take a look around inside the
自
mud.
分の目で確かめないと納得できないたちだからさ。
I'm the kind of guy that just has to see things with his own two eyes. So Takeshi and I split up to search. We agreed to meet up at 9:30 p.m. We were to meet in front of the security office.
レミューは水面下に3つの層を持っています。
The mud has 3 layers below the ocean
エルス
surface.
トボーデン、ツバイトシュトック、ドリットシュトック。
Ersteboden, Zweetstock, and Dreetstock. She pronounced them a little bit differently because I think when you... I know in Korean, they tend to not have consonant clusters. They tend to not to end the words on the consonants. So there'll be like extra sounds at the end of the word. I don't know if that's the case in Japanese either, but it kind of sounded like it. Pretty sure those like E's at the end of these are silent.
各フロアの間隔は17メートルです。フロアを1つ降りれば17メートル深くなります。
There are 17 meters between each floor. So 17 meters is about... If you multiply it by 3, that's 51 feet, but it's more than 51 feet. It's more like probably 60 feet. So if you go down a floor, then you go 17... Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, they multiplied it by 3 for me. It's not exactly a multiply by 3. It's a 3 point something. Anyway.
したがって3階、ドリットシュトックは水深51メートルの位置に沈んでいることになりますね。
Thus, the third floor, Dreetstock, is located 51 meters or 103 feet deep. Right. So then it's at... So if you're 1 atmosphere per 33 feet, then that's less than 3 atmospheres. Okay. So maybe I got the 90... whatever. So the 90 feet... I got mixed up somewhere in there. Oh well. The numbers aren't that important, really. With all this time on my hands, I visited Sora in the control room. Sora politely, and in an easy-to-understand way, explained to me about Lemieux, which I knew almost nothing.
ドリットの外には約5気圧の水圧プラス大気圧1気圧で合計約6気圧の海水が満ちていることになります。
Outside of Dreet is a total of 6 atmospheres of pressure, 5 atmospheres water pressure, and 1 atmosphere air pressure.
仮にドリットから突然海中に出てしまった場合、
Even if hypothetically you were to suddenly go out into the ocean from
肺
Dreet,
が6分の1に押しつぶされるか、または肺溶石の6分の5の海水が肺に流れ込んで、おそらくは数分以内に絶命するでしょう。
your lungs would be crushed by about 1/6 of their size, and approximately 5/6 of your lungs would be flooded. You would likely die in a matter of minutes. Can I ask a question?
どうぞ。
Go ahead. Yeah, I don't know if that necessarily adds up right, but whatever. How much pressure exactly is 5 atmospheres of water pressure? It's hard to imagine.
1気圧は1平方センチメートルあたり1キログラムの重さがかかっていることを言います。
1 atmosphere is 1 kilogram of weight per square centimeter. Approximately.
レミューの内外の気圧差は5気圧ですから、その5倍。1平方センチメートルあたり5キログラムの力が加わっていると考えてください。
Difference in pressure inside and outside of Lemieux is 5 atmospheres, or a multiple of 5. Please think of it as 5 kilograms, or around 11 pounds of weight per square inch. And that 5 kilograms to pounds actually was pretty good. 5 kilograms of weight per square inch. So for each meter, it would be 100 times 100, or 50 tons.
正解です。
That's correct. But what about those people that skin dive? They can dive to depths of around about 90 feet, right?
フリーダイビングの現在の世界記録は150メートルです。
The current world record for free diving is 150 meters, or around 450 feet.
アクアラングをつけてそれなりの手順を踏めば、おそらく35メートルぐらいなら誰でも潜れるでしょう。
Is that true? I don't know. With an aqua lung and pauses along the way, probably just about anyone could drive around 105 feet.
しかしその場合、肺に送り込むエアは高圧のガスを用います。
However, the air sent to your lungs would be highly pressurized gas.
素潜りの場合は息を止めて潜るわけですが、素人だったら20メートルが限界ですね。
Oh, skin diving, they don't stop to breathe along the way. Amateurs can't make it past 65 feet.
それ以上になるとかなりの熟練が必要になります。
Any deeper than that requires intensive training. Wow, is that right?
それから大事なことがもう一つ。
And there's one other important thing.
仮に水圧に耐えることができたとして、
Even if you can withstand the water pressure, you're deaf when you come back up. No.
少年さん、あなたは51メートルも上にある海面まで泳ぎ切ることができるでしょうか。
Could you really swim the 167 feet to the surface? 51 meters? How high is that, 51 meters?
15階建てのビルを想像してみてください。
Imagine a 15-story building.
あるいは3階建ての校舎を5個積み重ねたものでも良いかもしれません。
Or 5 3-story school buildings stacked upon each other. Well, I'll tell you, swimming up isn't very hard. 5 schools stacked. No way, I couldn't swim that.
では10階建てのビルではどうですか。
How about a building with 10 stories?
水深34メートル、ツバイトシュトックがこの位置にあります。
Depth of 34 meters, or just above 100 feet, that is the depth of sweet stock. 54 meters, huh? Well, somehow I think I could.
え、泳ぐんですよ。歩いたり走ったりするわけではないんですよ。
But you'd have to swim it, you know. This isn't walking or running. Oh, goodness, swimming. Oh, dear. But 34 meters or 1 or 2 feet, that is like right over there. Well, I would float, actually. I think it would be easier than climbing the distance on land.
少年さんは水深34メートルの水圧がどれほど苛烈なものなのか全く分かっていらっしゃらないようですね。
Well, you don't have any idea how severe water pressure is at 34 meters depth, do you, kid? It hurts. Now, hold on a minute. Just a second ago, we were talking about even if one could endure the water pressure.
そんな過程は無意味です。
That type of hypothetical talk is
水
meaningless.
圧を抜きにしてこの問題を語ることはできません。
You can't discuss this problem without water pressure. But Sora, you said...
いいですか。もう一度だけ想像してみてください。
Listen, try to imagine that one more time.
水深34メートル、10階建てのビルの屋上まで泳ぎ切ることができますか。
You are 102 feet deep. Could you swim to the top of a 10-story building? There's a severe edge of Sora's way of putting it. I felt like there is something of a warning contained within her words. Sora, you don't really think that I would try to break out of sweet stock and swim to freedom, do you?
しませんよね。
You wouldn't, would you? No way. Why would I do anything that reckless and crazy?
いえ、それならばいいのですが。
Well, I should hope not. It's fine, I understand. Right now, all we can do is patiently wait for help, right?
はい、そうです。
That's right. Saying that, Sora gave a big nod. As I was so involved in my chat with Sora, I had missed the appointed meeting time. I left the control room and headed towards the meeting point in front of the security office. But Takeshi wasn't there. Hey, Takeshi. I tried to call out to him, but there was no reply. Glancing at the security office, I noticed that the door was wide open. I decided to take a peek in the room. No one was there. I just missed the plot. I guess I have to play as Takeshi to experience that. Not you, Sora, nor Tsumugi. Hey, Sora. Sora. Everybody, where are you? I looked up at the bare ceiling and called out. I figured Sora would be in the control room monitoring me, but apparently she wasn't. There were no sounds from the speakers on the ceiling. I wonder where I should go. I thought as I wandered through the corridors. First. This is like one of those never 7 things. Okay, I always do these in the wrong order, but we're going to go to the warehouse first. Okay. So it's on the 2nd floor. I wound up in the front of the warehouse. Don't expect anyone is here, but What's that? A watertight door at the entrance was slightly open. I was sure it was closed when I had come by here with you and Ever17. Is anyone there? I softly opened the door. Ah! Sarah. Sarah was inside. She was sitting on top of a pile of boxes. I didn't know if I'd surprised her, but her face seemed to stiffen.
なんだ、少年か。脅かさないでよ。
Oh, kid, don't scare me like that. Sorry. After shooting me a slight glare, Sarah stuck her hands in her pockets and dropped to the floor. But what are you doing here?
ちょっと一人になりたかったの。
Oh, I just wanted some time alone. Alone?
というよりは、ナッキュ先輩が少し一人にしてくれって言うから、別行動してるだけなんだけどね。
Actually, Nakyu said she wanted to be alone, so we just went our separate ways. Oh, that reminds me. How was Tsumugi? Sarah sighed silently and held her hands out, palms facing up. I see. Feminine intuition aside, not even the two girls have been able to get through to her, even though there was no apparent reason for Tsumugi to hold a grudge. What could Tsumugi have been so angry with us about? Finally, we promised to meet later in the conference room and split up. I thought I would go somewhere else. Jellyfish gondola. This is also on Sweet Stock. Next, I went to the jellyfish gondola. Tsumugi was there. Her back was to me and she was looking at the entrance. I called out to her loudly. Want to ride the gondola? The power's out, silly. Tsumugi turned to look at me, but she immediately turned on her heel and walked away. Wait a minute.
私、さっき言ったわよね。
I already told you.
もう二度と声をかけないで。そう言ったでしょ。
I said don't ever talk to me again. Well, if you say it to the MC, it's futile. But Tsumugi started walking again. Hey, I said wait.
何よ、しつこいわね。
What is it? You're so irritating. You met you and Sarah, right?
だから
So what? Why didn't you listen to them?
あなたには関係ない。
It's none of your business.
そんなこと聞くために私を呼び止めたわけ？
Is that why you stopped me? No. Real reason is something else. Before you said something about those guys or something, right? What did you mean by that? Tsumugi stared at me intently. She narrowed her eyes almost as if appraising me. Immediately, intimidated by her intense glare, my body stiffened and I swallowed.
あなた一体何者なの？
What is it with you? I don't know. I wish I did know.
わかったわ。
Fine.
もしもあなたが嘘をついてないとしたら、一つだけ忠告しといてあげる。
Well, if you aren't lying, then I'll warn you about one thing.
あなたはきっと利用されてるのよ、奴らに。
Those guys, they are probably using you. Some experiment again? On Curie syndrome? Using me? So who do you mean when you say those guys?
これ以上は言えない。
I can't say more than that.
私、まだあなたのこと 100% 信用したわけじゃないの。
I still don't trust you 100% yet.
逆に、私のことを信用してもらっても困るし。
I don't want you trusting me either.
とにかく、自分の身は自分で守りなさい。
Anyway, look after yourself.
何が起きても、私はあなたのことを助けるつもりはないから。
If something happens, I am not going to help you. Saying only that, Tsumugi turned and left. Having no idea what just happened, I simply stood there. I thought I would go somewhere else. Merry-go-round. The merry-go-round. Several dozen dolphins were connected in the circle. There were no horses, no carriages, there were no children's voices. And the blue ocean was just one paneling of wall away. We were all trapped in this place. Thinking this, it was hard to believe that the scenery spreading before me was realistic. What am I doing here? That thought popped into my mind. That I was experiencing right now seemed much more bizarre to me than the fact that I'd lost my memory. In other words, my doubts about the past were less than my sense of unease about the present. I was overcome by a sense that my existence was floating away.
あ、少年。
Hey kid,
何ボケーっとしてんの？そんなとこで。
are you spacing out there? You was peeking at me from the shadow of a rock. Not exactly. Really? Oh, I talked to Sarah and she said that things were no good with Tsumugi.
まあね。
So it is different order, it comes out different, okay. Well, you could say that. What exactly happened? Well,
一言で言うと、振り逃げかな。
in a nutshell, it was like we whiffed. What do you mean?
つぐみはいくつなの？とか、どこに住んでるの？とか、お腹すいたね？とか、最初はそんな軽い話から始まって。
Started with light conversation about how old she was, where she lived, if she was hungry. We were biding our time, waiting for the right pitch.
最終的には、なんで怒ってるの？ってマヨが直球勝負を挑んで。
Ultimately, Mayo asked her straight out, "Why are you so mad?" And what did she
だ
say?
から振り逃げだってば。
Said we whiffed, right?
空振りされた挙句、出塁されちゃったって感じ。
It's like we waited and waited for a good pitch, but we didn't get anything, so we swung. So it was a big
ゼ
zero.
ロかどうかはわからないけど、1じゃないことだけは確かでしょう。
I didn't know if it was a zero. I don't know if it was zero, but we sure didn't hit a home
あ
run.
とはひたすら牽制球を投げて、向こうが油断するのを待つのみね。
Just wait for her to get careless and throw the right pitch. And get her out.
タッチセーフだよ。
Get a hit.
私はただ、触れたいだけ。
I
手
just
応
wanted to
え
get
を
a,
感じたいだけなの。
I just wanted to get a sense to feel what she was all about.
理由はどうあれ、人に嫌われてるっていうのは、あんまり気分のいいものじゃないからね。
Reasons aside, there was just something not pleasant about being disliked. Saying that, you started walking. She got on the platform of the merry-go-round and petted the fin of a dolphin. I followed after you and jumped on the back of a dolphin.
ところで少年、こんなとこで何やってたの？
Kid, incidentally, what were you doing here? Well, I just picked an option off a list that the game gave me. I was looking for everyone. When I went to the security office, nobody was there. What about you? You? What were you doing?
メリーゴーランドの周りをブラブラしてただけ。
I was just hanging around this area near the merry-go-round.
ちょっと一人になりたかったから。
I just wanted to be alone, so... Alone. You cast a lonely look at the dolphin as she patted its smooth skin.
ねえ、このイルカ、どうして動かないのかな？
Hey, why doesn't this dolphin move? Probably because it's not turned on. There should be an operating panel around somewhere.
スイッチを入れたら、このイルカは動くの？
Think if we turn it on, the dolphin will move? Yeah, probably.
海の中を泳いだり、魚を捕まえたりするの？
Swim in the ocean and catch fish and stuff? What?
私、さっき思ったんだけど、
I was just thinking.
レミューの中には、イルカも、クジラも、魚も貝も、タコだってクラゲだってイソギンチャクだっているのにさ。
Because inside Lemur, there are dolphins and whales and fish and clams and octopus. There are even jellyfish and sea anemones. But
でもそれって本当は、全部生き物じゃないんだよね。
none of them are real living creatures. Of course not. They're all made by people.
当たり前かな。
I wonder. They were taxidermy?
例えば、深い森の中では、生きていないものを探す方が難しいでしょ？
For example, deep in the forest, it would be harder to find something that is not alive than something that is, right?
木も草も鳥も昆虫も土の中の微生物だってみんな生きてるんだもん。
There are trees and grass, birds and bugs, soil and little living creatures inside of it. Everything is alive.
だけどここはどう？
How about here?
こんな広い空間の中で生きてるのは私たちだけなんだよ。
The only thing that is alive in this vast space is us.
海の中の楽園なのにね。
I call this an underwater paradise, a utopia.
この楽園では生きてることの方が珍しいのかもしれない。
So in this utopia, living things are outnumbered by non-living things.
つまり私たちは邪魔者。
Which in a way means we are...
死の世界に紛れ込んだ異物なんだと思う。
We are intruders in this world of the dead. You petted the dolphin. The dolphin's deformed plastic smile didn't move at all. A steel rod was stuck into its belly. Do you hate lemur, you?
ふ
Well,
難しい問題ね。
it's hard to say.
好きとか嫌いとかそういうのは考えたことなかったな。
It's not like I like it or dislike it. But you liked it enough to start working here, right?
ううん、
No. No, you didn't?
違うよ。
No. Well, then why? Usually it's because that was the job she could get. With my question, you tilted her head. Then she just clammed up and started wandering around one of the dolphins. Finally, her feet stopped and you quietly faced me.
大切なものを探してるの。
I'm looking for something important. Something
お
important.
父さんの手がかり。
A clue about my father.
実はね、私のお父さん、レミューの開発部門で働いてたの。
Actually, my father worked in the Research and Development division of Lemur. Research and Development.
私も詳しくは聞いてないんだけど、
I don't know the details.
お父さん、レミのプログラムを作ってたみたい。
It seems like my father made a Lemur program. So her father is behind all this now? Usually, you would not expect that because you would expect the cast to be closed. So you would expect that to be a red herring on first hearing. Lemur. Wasn't that Lemieux's central computer?
うん。
Yeah.
もちろん、一人でやってたわけじゃないよ。
Of course, he didn't do it alone.
そのプロジェクトの一員として、開発に携わってたってこと。
He was one of the members involved in developing the project. Is that so? But what did you mean by clue?
お父さんね。
My father?
お父さん、
My
ある日
father?
突然、いなくなっちゃったんだ。
The line went in. My father disappeared one day. What?
行方不明になっちゃったの。
He just went missing. Man,
それが、
he
物心ついた時にはすでにいなくって、
has been missing as long as I can remember.
私が1歳の時、つまり、今から17年前のことね。
It was when I was 1 year old, 17 years ago. So you don't remember your father?
うん。
No.
写真とかムービーとかでしか見たことはなくて、
Have you seen pictures and movies of him?
ちゃんとした記憶は残ってないの。全然。
I don't really have any memories.
今言ったことも全部お母さんから聞いた話で、
Everything I just told you, I heard from my mother. But why? Why did he disappear?
それが分かればこんなところまで来たりしないよ。
If I knew that, I wouldn't have come here. What do you mean?
お父さんの姿が最後に目撃されたのはこ
Last
の
time
レ
my
ミューの
father,
中だったの。
the last time my father was seen was in Lemur.
だからここに来れば消えたお父さんの手がかりが何か見つかるかもしれないってそう思って。
So he thought that if I came here, maybe I would find some clue about my father.
お母さんはもう諦めちゃってるみたいだから頼りにならないし。
It seems like my mom has already given up, so I can't count on her.
お母さん、お父さんのこと死んじゃったんだって思ってるみたい。
My mom has convinced herself that my dad is dead. The word dead had a heavy ring to it. You looked straight at me as her eyes watered.
でもね、私は信じてるの。
Leave.
お父さんは絶対どこかで生きてるんだよ。
I believe that he is alive somewhere.
だってそうでしょ？
He has to be.
お父さんはただ行方不明になっただけで遺体が見つかったわけじゃないんだし。
My father just went missing, and his remains were never found. I couldn't find any words. I didn't know what to say to her. She might have been waiting for me to say something like, "You're right, he's probably alive somewhere." But I couldn't say it. I just nodded and couldn't even look back into her eyes. Finally, we promised to meet up later in the conference room and split up. I thought I would go somewhere else. So if this usually Zero Escape tends to have somewhat of a happy ending, and it appears that Infinity, based on Ever17, also tends to have sort of happy endings. So this isn't quite the genre where you'd expect her to find the bones of her father in a cardboard box, but it might happen. Watch Zimmer. Juggling 3 languages here. Oh, Takeshi. I was surprised upon returning to the security office. Takeshi was there. I wonder what he was up to. He had both hands on the operating panel and was staring into the monitor intensely. I was about to call out to him, but I hesitated. The gaze that Takeshi had leveled on the monitor. It was so intense that it made my spine tingle. He had the eyes of a hawk scouring the horizon for prey. Takeshi? I finally get out the words. Takeshi slowly looked back at me.
お、少年、やっと来たかね。待ちくたびれたぞい。
Hey, kid, you finally made it. I'm beat from waiting. Look on Takeshi's face was his normal old goofy expression. I felt relieved. What were you doing? You looked so intense it was scary.
あ？怖い顔？
Scary? Yeah, just now you looked scary.
失礼なやっちゃな。俺の顔のどこが怖いって言うんじゃい。
It's kind of rude. What's so scary about my face? It's different now. Before, it was scary.
ほう。じゃあどれだけ怖かったのか見せてみ。
How about you show me how scary it was? I think your face was like this, glaring at the monitor. I tried to mimic how Takeshi was looking by using my fingers to pull up both of my eyes.
なんじゃそりゃ。全然怖くねえよ。
That's not scary at all. Don't try to pretend it was nothing.
はあ、すまんすまん。俺はな。
Oh, sorry.
お前さんを探してたんだよ。
I was looking for you. For me?
おう。お前さんいつまで経っても来ないからな。館内放送で呼び出してやろうかと思って。
Because you didn't show up forever, I thought I'd call you on the complex intercom system. Huh?
ひょっとしたら、どこかで迷子になってビービー泣いてるんじゃないかと。
I figured you were probably lost somewhere and crying yourself silly. What are you talking about? I was about to say the same thing to you. You weren't here at the time we set up. Where have you been until now?
バッキャロ！そん時いなかったらお前だろ？思いっきり遅刻しやがったくせに。
Stupid, you're the one that wasn't here, right? You're totally late. Oh, sorry about that, but you could have waited a little longer.
俺は忙しいんだ。お前のことだけ構ってるわけにはいかねえんだよ。
Hey, I'm a busy guy, not here to look after you. Busy? You? But that's what you were doing just now.
そう、俺は多忙なんだ。
Yep, I'm horribly busy. Liar, until a while ago you were wasting time. We were wasting time together.
なあ。
Hey.
もうやめないか？ こんな身のない口論。
Can we stop this meaningless conversation? Yeah, it's kind of stupid,
だろ
isn't it? We both laughed wryly. That dissolved any tension that was in the atmosphere. I didn't get it. But at some point I had begun to feel comfortable with him. I thought there was something about him, something like me, maybe. Yeah, he's also an MC. They tend to resemble each other.
ところでどうよ。何か思い出せてきたかね
So how's your condition coming along? Any changes? Saying that, Takeshi sat down in a chair. His eyes were at the same height as mine. Any changes you mean by memory? Takeshi nodded. I shook my head.
そっか。
I see.
でもまあ焦るなや。空も言ってたけど、記憶喪失ってのはほんの些細なきっかけで突然治ったりするもんだ。
Well, don't force it. It's like Sora said, memory loss can heal at just the slightest thing. Pulls out a stun gun. Easy for you to say, it's not your problem.
人事だからな。
Sure, it's not my problem. You say it like you've seen it happen.
まあな。何せ俺様は全知全能だからよ。
Well, I've been around this infinite loop a few times. Sure, tell me about it, and... I didn't feel like crying.
まあとりあえずだ。まずは手近なところから思い出していったらどうだ
Well, for now, why don't you try to remember things starting with stuff familiar to you?
そうだな。誕生日とか。
Things like your birthday. My birthday.
どうした
What's wrong? Hey, what year is it?
お前、そんなことも忘れちゃったのか
Forgot that too? Yeah.
今年はな、西暦2000...
It's 2000...
何年だっけ
What is it? Saying that Takeshi fished his entrance ticket stub from his pocket.
ああ、そうそう。
Oh, that's right.
2017年だ。
It's 2017. It's another one of those. It's supposed to be in the future, but like you're playing it even further in the future, so it's in the past to you. But I thought that Never 7 took place in 2019. Was it 2019? Okay. So did we go back in time? What? Takeshi crumbled the stub back up and pushed it back in his pocket. 2017.
それがどうかしたのか
Is there something about it? Yeah, kind of.
ちょっと
Kind of. I heard that if I heard the year, then I might be able to remember at least my birthday.
そうか。そういえばお前、自分の年齢もわからないんだったよな。
I see. Come to think of it, you don't even know how old you are, huh? No.
見た感じだと、42歳厄年ってところかな。
By the looks of it, I'd say you're not a day over 42. This means that he is 42. Sounds like a joke, but... Okay, I don't know for certain. But it's very likely that he is actually somehow 42 years old. Okay. What?
冗談だよ、冗談。
You say so.
そんなわけないだろうが。
There's no way.
多分14、5歳ってとこじゃないかな。
Probably in the neighborhood of 14 or 15, which means that you were born about when this game came out.
仮に18歳だとしたら、かなりの童顔だ。
If you are 18, then you've got a baby face. 14 or 15, huh? I muttered this.
さてと、俺はもう行くぞ。実はまだ見回りが終わってねえんだ。
Well, I'm getting out of here. Actually, I haven't finished looking around. Oh, hey, Takeshi, it seems like everybody's scattered all over right now.
ああ、そうだな。もう少ししたら、どっかに集合しないとな。
Yeah, we'll have to arrange to meet somewhere sooner or later. I think the conference room would be good.
わかった。みんなに会ったらそう伝えとくよ。
Got it. If I see the others, then I'll give them the word. Takeshi left. I also decided to go somewhere else. I thought I would go somewhere else. I went to the control room again. What's up? Any progress?
いえ、残念ながら
Unfortunately, no.
レミでさえ事態を正確に把握することができていないようなのです。
It appears that even Lemay is not able to accurately gauge the situation.
こんなこと普通では考えられないことなのですが、
This is something that would normally be unthinkable. Oh, that reminds me, Sora, did you know?
はい、何をでしょうか。
No, know what? That Yu's father made Lemay.
そうなのですか。初耳です、それは。
Well, if we went to the control room first before talking to you, then we wouldn't have been able to do this. So order matters here seemingly quite a bit. Of course, he didn't make it all by himself. She said her dad was a member of the development project team.
そうですか。
Is that right?
大変興味深いお話です。
That's very interesting. By the way, why is Lemay called Lemay?
あれ、まだお教えしていませんでしたか。
Oh, haven't I told you? No, I haven't heard.
レミの正式名称は
Lemay's proper name is...
ライプリヒメデツィン・ムリティフィルファーレン・インテリゲント・ヒルン・ズユステームと言います。
Lieblich Medizin Motiverfahren Intelligent Hirnsystem. Actually indicates it. What was that? Can you give it to me one more
ラ
time?
イプリヒメデツィン・ムリティフィルファーレン・インテリゲント・ヒルン・ズユステームです。
So a more Japanese trying to say Japanese transliterated German. What language is that?
ドイツ語です。
It's Deutsch. I guess they say Deutsch in Japanese. What does it mean?
最初のライプリヒメディツィンは製薬会社の名前を表しています。
First part, Lieblich Medizin indicates the name of a pharmaceutical company. Here's where the mitochondria come in.
その後は多重並列処理による人工知能システムといった感じの意味合いです。
The bit after that means something along the lines of parallel processing artificial intelligence system. Sometimes called a GPU.
この頭文字を取って LEMMIH すなわちレミシステムと呼ばれるようになりました。
The first letter of each word creates the acronym LEMAY, so they call the system LEMAY. Uh-huh, I see. Hey, there are two things I wanted to ask you.
何でしょう。
What might they be? That Liebl, what was it again?
ライプリヒメディツィン。日本ではライプリヒ製薬と呼ばれています。
Lieblich Medizin. In Japan it is known as Lieblich Pharmaceuticals. So what is the relationship between Lieblich and Lemieux?
このテーマパークを運営しているのはレミューという名前の株式会社です。
The company managing this theme park is called Lemieux.
そしてこの会社の筆頭株主がライプリヒ製薬なのです。
And the largest stockholder is Lieblich Medicine. Now spelled with a C instead of a Z. I see. So essentially, I guess that Lieblich has the right to say whatever happens to Lemieux.
そのように解釈していただいても差し支えないと思われます。
I suppose that is a reasonable interpretation.
そもそもこのテーマパークの名前の由来も
The origin of the name of this theme park,
表向きには幻の大陸レムリアにちなんでということになっておりますが、
the official line is that it was named after the phantom or lost continent Lemuria.
実際にはライプリヒメデツィンとウトピーの頭文字を取ってレミューと命名されたんだそうです。
So actually, I've heard that it's just a combination of the first letters of Lieblich Medicine and Utopia. Except Utopia is spelled wrong. So they're doing some pharmaceutical experiment. That's what they're doing here. Okay.
ウトピー、ユートピア。
And that's what Tsubuki is referring to by those guys and what they're doing. Okay, well, maybe, I don't know. Oh, Utope. It's Utope is Utopia, but in German.
つまりライプリヒ製薬のプロデュースによって建設された夢のような理想郷、楽園。
In other words, Lieblich created this place to be a dreamlike utopia.
そんな意味が込められているということになります。
So that's why they named it that. A utopia, huh? So it isn't really Lemieux, like it's Japanese. It's like le mu, actually. Okay.
2つ目の質問は何でしょうか？
What was your second question? Oh, well, it's about German.
ドイツ語ですか？
Deutsch? Yeah. You just said that Le Mis' official name is German, right? And all around Le Mu are these German signs and stuff. I just wondered why German?
それはライプリヒ製薬が日本とドイツの合弁企業だからです。
That is because Lieblich Pharmaceutical is a joint venture between a Japanese and a German company.
本社はフランクフルトにありますし、役員の大半もドイツ人で占められています。
Its headquarters are in Frankfurt, and the majority of the officials are German. So that's why it's all in German. So Lieblich Pharmaceutical had a pretty strong relationship with Le Mu then. Well, it owned it. Since I'm asking, can I ask one more thing?
どうぞ。
Go ahead. Why did Lieblich Pharmaceutical want to run a theme park anyhow? I mean, we're talking about Lieblich Pharmaceutical. They make medicine, right? That doesn't seem to have anything to do with the theme park. And this is right in the middle of the ocean, right? Why go to all the trouble of...
それは
Because human experimentation again.
それは
So Eva...
申
Because...
し訳ありません。
I'm sorry.
その質問にはお答えすることはできません。
I can't answer that question. In fact, I know everything and I'm behind this whole thing. What do I not?
企業秘密だからです。
It is confidential information. Confidential? And they gave you your memory loss using their medicines. I thought it was time travel at first, most definitely. Haha, what in the... Who could I possibly tell? I can't imagine that a kid like me finding out would cause me damage. You really can't even tell little old me. Sora had gone quiet and wasn't answering. Okay, I understand. We'll just forget about it.
本当にすみません。
I'm really sorry. It's alright, you don't have to apologize. You have to keep the secret as part of your job, right? There's nothing you can do about it.
わかりました。では一つだけお教えしましょう。
Alright, I'll tell you one thing.
レミューは外部から電力を供給してもらっているのではなく、館内に自家発電装置を持っています。
Lemu, but now the second, the U is lowercase, does not rely on energy provided from the outside, but generates all of its energy in this
この真
complex.
下、水深119メートルの位置に海底があるのですが、
Directly under us, a depth of 119 meters or 357 feet is the sea floor, so we're in a shallow spot.
この海底にある熱水噴出口から数百度という極めて高い温度の水を汲み上げ、その熱を利用して発電機を稼働させているのです。
There's a thermal vent on the surface of the sea floor where water several hundred degrees is pumped out and heat from it is used to operate generators. I waited for the rest of the explanation, but Sora didn't say anything more. Didn't continue to explain thermal energy? I mean, geothermal, okay. And what does that have to do with what we were just talking about? Sora let the question go.
そろそろ仕事を再開してもよろしいでしょうか。
Do you mind if I get back to work? Oh, sorry to bother you. I gave up and left. Lemu was controlled by a Japanese-German joint venture called Lieblich Pharmaceutical. Why would they build a theme park here? And what could it have to do with the fact that they generated their own energy? They generated it from the Curie field. I left this mystery spinning in my mind. On the way down the corridor, I noticed a sound. I looked for the source of the sound. Someone was crossing the corridor where it came to a T up ahead. A girl? It was a girl that I had never seen before. I followed after her as if I were being pulled in by her. Hey, wait, you there. The girl went into the infirmary. No one was inside. I carefully went deeper into the room. There I noticed a square space cut out. I peeked inside. Down below, a small lift was stopped. It looked like there was another room directly below the infirmary. I pushed the button calling the lift and hopped in. In the darkness, a girl sat on a bed. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know where to start. She just stared at me. It's alright. Don't worry, everything is alright. She didn't answer. Anyway, let's go where everyone else is.
みんな
Everybody? Yeah, it's not just me. There are lots of other people.
助けに来てくれたの？
Help? Did you come to help? Yeah, that's right.
でもきっと無理だよ。
It's probably impossible. Huh?
もうどこにも出られないんだ。
There's no way out anymore. The girl's eyes were sad and moist. Why do you say that? We'll be fine. Our rescue team should be here any time.
嘘。
Liar. It's not a lie. The people that escaped know that we're here. Someone will come for sure. Why do you say that?
だって。
Then suddenly a shocked look appeared on the girl's face as her eyes focused behind me. I followed her gaze. On the other side of the door was Takeshi peeking in.
誰と話してるんだ？
Who are you talking to? Takeshi, what great timing. It seems like this girl here didn't get out either.
女の子？
Girl?
女の子なんて
That girl?
いないじゃないか。
There's nobody there. Huh? I looked back. The girl had vanished and there was no sign that anyone had been sitting where she had been. Impossible.
おいおいやめてくれよ。記憶喪失の次は幻覚か？
Hey, cut it out, will you? You get tired of memory loss and are working on hallucinating now? Anything but predicting the future? Anything but premonitions? We gotta do all the other things, the weird things that happen with your mind.
かなり重症みたいだな。
You're worse off than we thought. No, I'm not seeing things. There was a girl there. She was here. She was sitting on this bed.
なあ、少年。
Listen, kid. What?
腹減らないか？
Aren't you hungry? Hungry? I ate all those chicken sandwiches earlier. Who cares about that right now? There was a girl here. A girl, I tell you.
わかったわかった。
I know.
女の子がな、いたんだよな。そうかそうか。
There was a girl there. I heard you. You don't get it at all.
いいからいいから。その話は後でゆっくり聞いてやるからさ。
Alright, I'll listen to the whole story later. But...
でもじゃない。お兄さん怒っちゃうぞ。
Nothing. You're going to make me mad if you keep this up.
みんなお前のこと待ってんだよ。一緒に飯食おうと思って。
Everyone is waiting for you to eat together. Well then, what are we going to do about this girl? I'm sure the girl is probably starving too.
はあ、こりゃもう完全にいっちまってるな。
Oh man, you've completely lost it. I'm not crazy. There was a girl right here. In the end, I couldn't get Takeshi to listen to me. Before going to the conference room, I peeked into the control room. The bioscan figure was eating at my mind. Life readings 5. The number had dropped from 6 to 5. Everyone was in the conference room. There was fried chicken sandwiches and drinks secured from the sandwich shop for everyone. Only Tsumugi was absent. I wonder where she had gone, but more than that, I was worried about her. I told everyone about the girl. Yeah, Tsumugi might know a place where she can hide herself from the bio reading. But everyone just laughed and no one listened. No one else had seen the girl. Then I remembered the bioscan figure. 7. That girl was probably person number 7. But the number had been 5 and 6 as well. What could it mean? The image of the girl had been burned into my mind and there was no getting away from it. I wondered if it was like Takeshi had said, a hallucination. If not, then a ghost? Haha, that was crazy. I shook my head at my own silliness. Maybe I was losing it. Something had to be wrong with me. I needed to calm down, collect myself. Well, I flipped up the tab on the can of cola. Yeah, that. At first I didn't know what had happened. I licked the liquid around my lips. It was sweet. It seemed as if the cola had exploded into my face. Everyone exploded in a chorus of laughter.
はあ、もう何やってんのよ、少年。
What the heck are you doing, kid? You said this laughing.
その間、レミューンの特殊ガスの気圧に合わせて6気圧で封入してあるんだから。
These cans contain pop made with special gas so that they are made at 6 atmospheres.
でも、今ここは1気圧でしょ？
Right now we are at 1 atmosphere, right?
だから、ちゃんと手で押さえて開けないと、そんな風に中の炭酸が噴出して。
So if you don't hold it down when you open it, the carbonation inside explodes. As she laughed, Sarah took out a handkerchief. I took it and wiped my face. I was enveloped in laughter. Without noticing, I'd forgotten about everything that had been weighing on my mind. So an hour had passed. No help had come, there was no contact. The people on the floating island should have known that we were all trapped down here. Why didn't anyone come? Even if they couldn't open the watertight doors, there should be divers that could tap on the window glass or something.
皆さん、今晩はもうお休みになられた方がいいと思います。
Everyone, I think it is best that we go to sleep this evening.
後のことは私にお任せください。
Please leave the rest to me. Saying this, Sora grinned. Oh dear.
休むって言っても、どこで？
Sleep, but where?
仮眠室みたいなのってないの？
Are there any places to lie down or anything?
水没した区画にありますが、ドライエリアには残念ながら。
In the sectors that were submerged in water, but unfortunately not in the dry areas.
その代わりと言ってはなんですが、別の場所をご用意してあります。
Instead, I prepared another place for you. The infirmary, the room underneath the infirmary. Another
場所？
place.
ちょっと待ってよ、ソラ。
Wait a second, Sora. You're not saying that 4 people have to sleep in this cramped space. It was the place was where I had seen the girl.
っていうか、この部屋って何？
What is this room anyway?
ご説明申し上げます。
Let me explain.
ここは医療用の下減圧室です。
This is the decompression room for medical purposes.
この部屋で減圧症の治療を行うことができます。
Here, people suffering from decompression sickness or the bends are treated.
減圧症？
The bends?
はい。
Yes.
通常レミューから外に出るときには6気圧から1気圧へ長い時間をかけてゆっくりと減圧しなければなりません。
Normally, when people leave Lemu, they spend an extended period of time going through decompression, adjusting from 6 atmospheres to 1 atmosphere.
しかし皆さんは今回の事故により急激な気圧変化を経験されています。
As a result of the accident, everyone has experienced a sudden change in pressure.
もしかしたら減圧症にかかっているかもしれません。
You may be suffering from the bends.
そこで皆さんには念のためこの部屋の中で再加圧をしていただきたく。
So just to be safe, I want to have everyone undergo repressurization in this room. But there is nothing wrong with us.
軽い減圧症はすぐに自覚症状が現れるわけではないのです。
In cases of light decompression sickness, you are not necessarily aware of it immediately.
一晩二晩経ってから痛み出すこともあります。
There are cases where the pain doesn't start for a day or two.
やばいと気づいてからじゃ遅い？
After you figure out you're in trouble, it's too late?
はい。
Correct.
つまり念には念を入れてということです。
In other words, this is just to be completely safe.
ねえ、ソラ。救護室にある、ほらあれ。
Sora, what about that thing in the infirmary?
いろんな病状を診断できる装置があったじゃない？
There's a device there to diagnose all kinds of illnesses, right?
LMRI のことですか？
Do you mean the LMRI, perhaps?
そうそう、それ。
Yeah, that.
あれでスキャニングすれば減圧症にかかってるかどうかすぐにわかるんじゃないの？
If you do a scan with that, can't you tell right away if you've got decompression sickness?
残念ながらそれはできません。
Fortunately, no, we cannot.
え、
Why?
先ほど見たところ、あの装置は故障中のようです。検証と修理にそれなりの手間と時間を要してしまいます。
You saw before that device is out of order. Discovering the problem and repairing it would take time and energy.
そうなんだ。
Oh.
ねえ、一つ聞いてもいい？
So, can I ask you something?
何でしょう？
What?
減圧症のこともうちょっと詳しく知りたいんだけど。
I want to know more about this decompression sickness.
わかりました。
I see.
減圧症は周囲に急激な気圧変化が起こった際に体内に排出できないガスが溜まってしまうために起こるものです。
Decompression sickness occurs when there is a sudden change in the surrounding air pressure and gas bubbles that can't be discharged accrue in the body.
ガスは気泡となって筋組織や静脈中などにとどまります。
Gas becomes air bubbles and these gather in tissues or veins.
ガスが体内に多く残っていると酸素呼吸効率が著しく低下します。
When gas bubbles remain inside the body, the oxygen respiration efficiency drops drastically.
それってどんなに深呼吸しても窒息したみたいに苦しくなるってことか？
So no matter how many deep breaths you take, it feels like you're suffocating?
はい。
Yes.
そこでこの部屋を密閉して高濃度の酸素を注入。一旦約3気圧まで再加圧し、
So we will seal this room and pump in a high concentration of oxygen, raising the level to approximately 3 atmospheres.
その後ゆっくりと減圧し、再び1気圧に戻します。
Then we slowly decompress you back down to 1 atmosphere.
圧力差を利用して体内の気泡を再び血液中に溶け込ませ、呼吸によって自然に排出できるようにするわけです。
Using this difference in pressure, we dissolve the gas bubbles in your body back into your blood, where we get rid of them naturally by breathing.
つまり缶コーラが噴出しないようにしてやるわけか。
You mean you make us like a can of cola that won't blow up?
ええ、その通りです。
Yes, precisely.
オッケー、わかったよ。
Okay, I got it. Decompression process took place over several hours, but boy, it was cramped. Wondering where in the world Tsumugi could have gone. I wondered where in the world Tsumugi could have gone. And shouldn't Sora have been undergoing decompression as well? I was so tired that my mind and body felt numb, but strangely sleep didn't come for me. Takeshi had monopolized the bed. He was breathing deeply and peacefully. Sleeping was so well in an emergency like that. You, Sara, and I sat on the floor. I gradually got annoyed with Takeshi sleeping like a log. There were still 4 hours until the decompression was complete. The night was long. I wondered how much time had passed since the pressurization had started. I noticed that the date had already changed. I waited on the hard floor for the treatment to finish. He was the only one of us.
たく、さいわね、このバカは。
Jeez, he's so loud, that idiot.
先輩、眠れません。
Like you, I can't sleep at all. Takeshi's talking in his sleep echoed throughout the room. We were mentally drained, and the three of us were in no state to sleep. No, it was worse than that. Gradually, we had started to go mad. Why don't we just wake him up and tell him?
無駄よ。寝言とかいびきって本人の意思とは無関係なんだから。
It's no use. Snoring and talking in your sleep aren't something that people can control. We could tape his mouth shut.
それよりも濡れタオルを顔にかぶせる方が。
Even better, we could drape a wet towel over his face. Wouldn't that kill him?
そうね。
Yeah, you're right.
っていうか、そもそもなんでこいつだけベッドで寝てんのよ。
Why is he the only one that gets to sleep on the bed? You let the bed have a swift kick as she said this.
それ最高。
Okay. Takeshi slamlessly carried on like that, looking happily asleep.
それにしてもどんな夢を見てるんだろうね。
I wonder what kind of dream he is having. Who knows?
大方 いやらしい夢でも見てるんでしょうよ。この間抜け面から察するに。
Yeah, that. You reached out towards Takeshi's face and pinched his cheek. And then, well, they punned.
え？
Okay. It seems like he is talking in his sleep.
まさかこの人、ナフキ先輩の夢を？や
He's not dreaming of you, is he?
めてよね。そんな演技でもない。
Stop that. There's no way.
おい、ユウ。
こら、暗なり。勝手に人を夢の中に出すんじゃ。
Takeshi, how dare you have dreams about me?
長え名前。親の顔が見てみてえよ。
See her dad. Yum yum. What?
言うのバカ。
You dummy.
ちょっと暗なり。あんた起きなさいよ。
Hey, Takeshi, wake up. You gotta tell Takeshi's collar. If we didn't stop her, she might have strangled him.
落ち着いて先輩。ただの寝言なんだから。
Take it easy, Nakio. He's just talking in his sleep. She's right. He doesn't mean anything by it. Probably not anyway. Takeshi continued to blabber with a dumb, blissful look as he slept, oblivious to our troubles.
おーっとまきた。かくなる上は。
Have it. I have no choice but to. What are you going to do? You put her hand in her pocket and pulled out a marker from before. Okay. She popped the cap off the pin and prepared to giggle.
まさかそれで。
No, you're not going
その
to.
まさかよ。
You bet I am.
寝首をバッサリ。
Chop his head off.
するかっていうか、できるわ。
With a pen.
いい？つまり、こうするってことよ。
This is what I'll do. She said this, she took the pen and started drawing big round eyes, like a girl from a comic, on Takeshi's eyelids. Kind of meta.
天罰てきめん。
Hehehe, what goes around comes around. Take that. Hee hee. It's a masterpiece.
面白そう。ナッキ先輩、私にもやらせて。
It's funny, let me try, not you. Saw stretched a whirlpool, sketched a whirlpool on Takeshi's cheek.
ニンニン。
Laughing so hard my gut hurts.
ほら、少年もこのアホに何か書いてやったら、胸がスーッとするよ。
Hey kid, why don't you draw something on this idiot? It'll make you feel loads better. Alright, let's see, I drew meat on his forehead. Conveniently obscured by the hair. Three of us kept taking turns doing graffiti on his face. Dozens of minutes later, Takeshi had been further transformed into a much decorated creature, miserable, disfigured, and hard to describe.
おはようございます、皆さん。
Good morning, everyone.
昨夜はぐっすりお休みになられましたか？
Did you sleep well?
おかげさまで、バッチリと完徹させていただきました。
To somebody, I was up all night.
一睡もされていないのですか？
Sleep a wink?
このバカのせいでね。
Because of this idiot. You lifted her foot and kicked Takeshi, who was lying on the bed.
おばさんパーマにしてください。
Firm, please. Takeshi was still dreaming. It looked like Sora had noticed the graffiti and was trying to keep from exploding with laughter.
どうしたんですかこの顔。
Tap into his face.
あんまりにも頭にきたから。
He got so mad. We took turns drawing on him.
そう。この魔法のサインペンで、キュッキュッキュッとね。
We scribbled the night away with this marker. Saying that, you laughed loudly.
それにしても、これは少しやりすぎなのでは？
Even so, maybe you went a little too far.
いいのいいの。このおっさんのせいで私たち眠れなかったんだから。
No, we didn't sleep at all because of this noisy beast. It's poetic justice.
だからソラも、この落書きのことはしばらく黙っててね。
So Sora, hold off on telling him for a while, alright?
つまり、気づかないふりをするということですか？
You mean you're gonna pretend that I don't notice?
そういうこと。
That's it.
そのじんとこ白いの出てきた。
It's all white curlies.
そんなことよりもソラ、減圧は？
Enough of that. Sora, what about the decompression?
はい。もちろんすでに終了しています。
You're all done, of course.
体調の悪い方はいらっしゃいませんよね。
Is there anyone that feels ill?
私は全然大丈夫。
I feel fine. Me too.
まあ、徹夜明けだから頭は少しぼーっとしてるけどね。
I was up all night and I feel groggy.
倉成さんは？
And Takeshi?
これ、見ればわかるっしょ？
Just look at him.
三者リ音国あまりです。ふけね
Math, social studies, science, English class. I don't know if it's Japanese class or English class in the original. Music, I can't play that. And Z's.
それでは皆さん、すぐに制御室にお集まりください。
All right, everyone. I'd like to have you all gather at the control room at once.
私は先に行っていますので。
Go on ahead. Has anything happened?
話は制御室の方でいたしますので。
I'll tell you all about it in the control room.
では、失礼します。
Now, if you'll excuse me. Sora ducked and left the pressurized chamber. Sora's face, as she left, was devoid of humor. We got Takeshi up and made for the control room. Sora was next to me. Ahead of you and Takeshi were talking about something as they walked. I couldn't quite make out what they were saying. You have to play Takeshi's route for that. Eventually, Takeshi slowed down, separated from you, and came back to
なあ、
us.
ユウのやつ、なんであんなにピリピリしてんだ？
Hey, you got any idea what Yu's all miffed about? Who knows?
心当たりとかないの？
You don't have any ideas?
あったら聞いたりしないだろうが。
If I did, I think I'd be asking you.
ユウは鏡を見ろとかなんとかって言ってたけどさ。
You told me to look in the mirror, but... Huh?
え？
What?
つまんないの。
That's no fun. When Sora said that, it seemed like Takeshi finally figured it out. He wiped his face with his hand.
なんだこれ。
What's this? He stared at the black ink on the palm of his hand.
あの女。
Damn that girl. Clicking his tongue, Takeshi hurried back up ahead to you. Sora and I laughed as we watched Takeshi and you exchange words. Tsurugi was in front of the control room. She was leaning against the wall, her arms folded and facing down. Morning.
おはよ
Morning. With our greetings, Tsurugi slowly raised her head.
う。ねえ、つぐみ。ゆうべどこに行ってたの？
Tsurugi, where'd you go last night? Are you alright? I'm never alright.
なんかね、空が言ってたんだけど、急激な気圧変化を経験すると、
Sora was telling us about when there was a sudden change in air pressure.
減圧症でしょ。知ってるわよ。
Depends, I know.
私のことは心配しないで。
Don't worry
大
about
丈夫だ
me.
から。
Don't worry about me, I'm fine. Huh? Flashed through my mind. It seemed like something about Tsurugi had changed from the day before. Maybe it was loneliness, but her attitude and way of talking had been toned down.
本当に平気なの？
Are you really fine?
うん。
Yeah.
それよりも早く中に入ったら。
Let's get inside.
空、待ってるわよ。
Sora is waiting for us. At Tsurugi's urging, Sora and I entered the control room.
こんなにも早い時間に皆さんにお集まりいただいたのは他でもありません。
And we've just passed onto another day, and I will save right here. If I can find the save thing. Right there. Cool. And that's it.